This is how I make my lemon blueberry cheesecake sourdough loaf. So in this recipe, I'm making 2 loaves, but you can absolutely split it in half. So we're gonna start off with 700 grams of warm water, and we're gonna add 200 grams of active starter. I'm gonna give this a good mix, and then we're gonna add 1,000 grams of bread flour and 14 grams of salt. I like to mix this until it's like a nice shaggy dough like this, and then I'll go ahead and wet my hands really well and then kind of just like continue mixing it like this. Then I scrape the sides down and I cover it. I usually let it sit for around 35 minutes to 1 hour. Then we're gonna do our first set of stretch and folds. For this set, I like to do actual stretch and folds, but this is completely preference. You can do coil folds if you'd like. I just prefer this. And then I go ahead and let it sit again for an additional 30 minutes. Then we're gonna do our second set of stretch and folds. This part I do coil folds. This bowl weighs like 2 ounces. It's always flying all over the place, and I don't know why I still use it, honestly, but here we are fighting the bowl. Then I let it rest another 30 minutes, and in this set, I'm going to actually add the zest of 3 lemons and some sugar that I mixed together, and I'm kind of just getting it fully incorporated into the dough. We're gonna let it rest again, and this set of coil folds, I'm adding purple sweet potato flour. So this is just for color. I wanted like a swirl effect, that's why I'm adding it here, but this is optional. You don't have to do this, it just makes it purple. Then I'm gonna let that ferment on the counter and mix my filling. So it's 8 ounces of cream cheese and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla and 1 cup of confectioner sugar. I go ahead and put that in my stand mixer, mix it up real good, and leave it on the counter to stay kind of like soft so I can add it to the dough. After my dough is done fermenting, I like to kind of stretch it out onto the counter, laminate it so that I can add the cream cheese. Now listen to me, please, if you don't listen to anything else, listen to this. Add the cream cheese only in the middle. You see how I'm leaving out these edges? Because what we're essentially going to do is we're going to tuck this cream cheese in. I'm like pinching around the edges, and I'm going to be very delicate when I'm rolling this because cream cheese will literally squirt out on you. It will just be all over the counter. It'll be a mess. You'll still be able to make the loaf and cook it. It'll be amazing tasting, but it's just gonna be a crazy mess. As you can see at the end, there is some cream cheese on the counter, and so, you know, we were just fighting for our lives. Don't forget to add the blueberries. I use freeze-dried blueberries for this recipe, and I prefer those because they have, you know, no additional liquid to add to the dough. I did not tuck her in. I was like, girl, just go to sleep. I put her in the fridge overnight. This is the next morning. And before I score my dough, I like to put it in the freezer for about 15 minutes. It just like firms up the dough. It makes it a little easier to score. And I kind of feel like it gives it a better oven spring, but the jury is still out on that one. So I go ahead and score it. I'm doing like a 45-degree angle to kind of make these swirls a little bit more prominent. And then if you're using a Dutch oven, bake it at 450 with the lid on for about 40 minutes and then lid off for about 12 minutes.